Hello, I'm Paul Smith, Senior Policy Analyst from the VA National Center on Homelessness Among Veterans, based at the University of South Florida. Today I'm going to provide you with an overview of the VA homeless programs and a little bit of background on how they got their start and where these programs are headed. Many of you are launching brand new careers in the Department of Veterans Affairs, helping veterans who have become homeless in their homelessness. We want you to be a success, and so we have developed some training modules that will help you to have a good understanding of all the programs that VA has for homeless veterans, a little bit about the history of VA's homeless programs, and about VA's plan to get every homeless veteran off the street and into permanent housing. You may be wondering when homelessness among veterans became a problem for our nation's veterans. Is this a new problem, or has this been around for a very long time? If you said that homelessness amongst our veterans had been a problem for a very long time, you would be right. It was after the Civil War that our nation's leaders first realized that the problems associated with serving in combat, including the wounds and mental health issues, was causing a significant number of our nation's veterans to become homeless. A Civil War general found a whole company of his men homeless behind the Union train station in Washington, D.C., a few blocks from our nation's capital shortly after the Civil War. This heightened awareness of the problems of homeless veterans and the effect of war on those who served. Americans could not accept that those who had borne the battle to keep our country whole were now homeless. So then, was it a general, the president, a senator, or another leader who began leading the effort to solve this problem? You'll be happy to know that it was someone just like you, a peer to those who served in the Civil War, who began the fight against homelessness amongst veterans. Delphine Baker was a short, diminutive woman who made up for her 5-foot stature with courage. She led the National Litter Association, but during the Civil War, this daughter of a shopkeeper from Vermont followed the troops and served by being a nurse and caring for the wounded veterans in hospitals and military camps. After the Civil War, she recognized that we had a huge problem. She recognized that those who had wounds and mental health problems faced issues following the war. The Civil War left areas of our nation in ruins, and many veterans had no home to go back to. And she led the effort to give these veterans a national home program. As an excellent writer, she used her connection with the National Literacy Association, which had a number of ranking congressmen on its board, and petitioned Congress over and over again until they passed legislation to start the National Home Program for our nation's veterans who were wounded or homeless. Delphine Baker said that the United States must have a home for its national defenders. The poor soldier's broken in health should not return to common charity. He should have a nation's gratitude, a place in a nation's household, and a seat by the nation's fireside. As a result of Delphine Baker's petitions, and against considerable opposition, legislation was passed under President Lincoln on May 3, 1865, to establish the first programs for homeless veterans in our nation, just 30 days before Lincoln's death. Let's turn our attention now to the more recent effort on ending homelessness among veterans. For many years, some of this nation's leading experts were skeptical that homelessness among our nation's veterans could be ended, and most of the funding and work focused on managing the problem and not on ending homelessness. When did the modern-day effort get started? These national homes were the main resource for our homeless veterans during and after the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. These national homes, called domiciliaries, continued to serve our nation's homeless veterans. But in the 1980s, we saw a whole new wave of homelessness amongst our newest veterans, the Vietnam veterans. Americans demanded that more be done to help those that had put themselves in harm's way on behalf of our nation, and that included our homeless veterans. In the 1980s, on any given night, anywhere between 250,000 to 300,000 veterans were homeless. New programs were funded in the 1980s to address the issue of homelessness amongst veterans, and the numbers began to drop. These programs included the Health Care for Homeless Veteran Program, a program that provided street outreach and contract residential treatment for homeless veterans, the Grant and Per Diem Program, a program that provided grants to establish transitional housing and per diem payments for the housing of homeless veterans. At the same time, VA's domiciliary programs were expanded and enhanced with new programs specifically for homeless veterans. These programs helped thousands of veterans end their homelessness, reducing the numbers from nearly 300,000 to around 100,000 by 2009. But more importantly, the early programs made experts realize that ending homelessness amongst our nation's veterans was a realistic goal and within our grasp. Recognizing that homelessness amongst veterans was a solvable problem, in 2009, VA launched a bold new plan that sets a stage for everything that we are doing today to end homelessness amongst veterans. This sets the stage for all the programs that the VA has today. Today's new program to end homelessness was initiated with the philosophy that there is no wrong door, meaning that there is no wrong way or venue for a veteran to approach the VA to receive the services they need and to end their homelessness. Medical offices, regional centers, community organizations such as a vet center or a nonprofit that works with the VA will all provide assistance and help the veteran end his or her homelessness. Everyone who works for VA and all of our community partners have an obligation to ensure that a homeless veteran gets the help they need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This strategy is built on 6 key ingredients that you will hear often. These are outreach, treatment, prevention, housing and supportive services, income and employment and benefits, and community partnerships. The first key ingredient, outreach. In our outreach programs, VA staff go directly to the streets, the homeless shelters, the homeless encampments, and the soup kitchens to find the homeless veterans and engage them in services to end their homelessness. Treatment. Treatment involves getting the veteran the medical, mental health, and substance use services that they have often long neglected and need very badly. Prevention. Prevention strategies serve to keep veterans from becoming homeless in the first place. It is estimated that each year between 20 and 30,000 veterans experience a first-time episode of homelessness. Provision of housing and supportive services. This is basic to all of our efforts to end homelessness. Every veteran must be provided safe, affordable housing as fast as possible, along with the supportive services they need to successfully keep their housing. Helping veterans get the income they need through employment, securing benefits that they are eligible for, is also an extremely important task in ending the veterans' homelessness and helping them sustain themselves independently in the community. Finally, we believe strongly that to be successful, we must do this in collaboration and in partnership with our community partners, the nonprofits, the faith-based organizations, the many state, federal, city, and other community-based organizations that serve the homeless. VA has important core values when we deal with homelessness amongst veterans. The provision of safe and affordable housing is fundamental. No veteran deserves to be homeless, and all veterans must be provided housing. However, we also believe that our programming must provide comprehensive care that includes mental health services, substance use treatment services, the enhancement of independent living skills, and finding and maintaining permanent housing. We do all this with local communities. The VA engages hundreds, sometimes thousands of community partners, state and local partners to address veteran homelessness in communities across America. VA subscribes to a core value that if we are to be successful in ending homelessness, we must work collaboratively with the local continuums of care, the nonprofits, the faith-based organizations, and state and local government. Much of our work is done through community and local partners, and you will hear that theme often. The interagency plan to end homelessness amongst all our Americans follows this same plan. VA's comprehensive plan was a forerunner of the interagency plan to end homelessness. After this background information, let's look now at the major programs that the VA has to address homelessness amongst our nation's veterans. The first program is VA's outreach program. On any given day, the VA has over 300 staff going to soup kitchens, looking under bridges, and to major homeless encampment areas where homeless veterans might be. VA staff, enhanced by our community partner staff, also conduct outreach. They find and engage homeless veterans to educate them about the options to end their homelessness. Some of you have been homeless yourselves and are peers to the homeless. You will often find that you have a special talent for communicating with homeless veterans because you know what it's like to be homeless. You understand the needs of homeless veterans, and as a result of that understanding, have a special rapport and credibility because you know what it's like. As a result of that, you can relate to these homeless veterans in a way that many clinical staff from VA medical centers cannot. VA staff and our community partner staff conducting outreach is a vital part of VA's mission for the homeless. The goal of all outreach is to get homeless veterans off the streets as fast as possible, to get them housed, and to provide them with the comprehensive services they need to end their homelessness. By working together, we can make it happen. The VA also works with community partners to have community-based stand-downs as part of its outreach operations in cities all over the country. Stand-downs are 1 to 3 day events hosted in collaboration with community agencies to reach out to veterans in a community setting and provide one-stop services to homeless veterans and their families. At a stand-down, veterans can get a shower, warm meals, blankets and clothing, access legal services, healthcare services, and engage with both community and VA staff who stand ready to help them end their homelessness. Homeless stand-downs take their name from military stand-downs, where combat soldiers came back from the field combat operations for a brief respite, to recharge, have a clean shower, to relax before their return to combat. A goal of homeless veteran stand-downs is to provide respite and services and engage the veteran with the services for his homelessness so that he will not have to return to the street. Each year, several hundred stand-downs take place all across America. Another part of our outreach operation is our National Call Center. Veterans and their families can call 24 hours, 7 days a week to get help. The veterans' information gets transferred to local VA officials who can connect them with the services they need. Their goal at the call center is to get every veteran who calls connected with someone from the local VA medical center within 24 hours. The VA also has 25 community resource and referral centers in some of the larger American cities as part of its outreach operations. These one-stop, community-based storefront operations provide a host of services to homeless veterans. Many community agencies that serve the homeless have offices, either full or part-time, in the CRCs. Veterans can get a shower, use the laundry facilities, and at the same time see homeless outreach staff who will get them engaged with the many services we discussed earlier and that are necessary to end their homelessness. If you have a homeless veteran CRC in your area, you should visit the program so that you see firsthand how these programs fit into VA's strategy to end homelessness amongst veterans. Once veterans are engaged in outreach, VA staff provide a wide range of services, treatment services, support services, and housing services to help a veteran and their family end their homelessness. This segment will cover these services. The first program we will discuss, the domiciliary and residential treatment center programs, are programs that we discussed earlier. Domiciliaries have a very long history of caring for our nation's homeless veterans. Domiciliaries provide residence and short-term treatment for veterans that have substance use, mental health, or other health problems. They also have special programs for veterans who may have problems with post-traumatic stress disorder, physical disabilities, and psychosocial programs that are common to veterans experiencing homelessness. For more information on VA's domiciliary care program, visit VA's website. VA's Health Care for Homeless Veteran programs, also one of VA's older homeless programs, provides contract residential treatment services through local community partners. This program allows veterans to receive immediate assistance when they are located by outreach staff and connected with temporary housing and residential treatment services. These contract community-based programs provide housing stabilization and a wide variety of homeless support services to thousands of veterans each year. For more information about health care for homeless veteran programs, please visit the homeless section of VA's website. VA also sponsors homeless safe haven programs as part of health care for homeless veteran programs. In 25 cities, VA contracts with community-based providers to provide low-demand, low-entry barrier programs for veterans who are in early recovery and unable or cannot stay clean and sober or fully compliant with the demands of many traditional homeless programs. These programs have helped many chronically homeless veterans who have failed in other homeless programs to re-engage with homeless services over a longer period of time with few demands, reestablish their recovery program, and move on to low-demand permanent housing programs. Safe havens apply a low-demand harm reduction strategy that helps many veterans who have been previously unsuccessful achieve eventual success through a patient, continuous engagement approach. The VA also provides transitional housing and supportive service programs, which help veterans achieve housing stability and increase their skills, income level, and then transition to permanent housing. VA's Grant and Per Diem program provides grants to state, local, tribal governments, and nonprofit organizations to acquire, renovate, or rehabilitate a building to create transitional housing. These programs, once established, provide a congregate residential setting for homeless veterans with a stay of up to 24 months. A per diem payment is made to the grant and per diem provider by VA to cover the cost of the services, meals, and lodging of the veteran. Currently, in 2016, this program has nearly 15,000 operational beds. The transitional housing and supportive services provided by these important programs have helped thousands of veterans in their homelessness. These community-based homeless providers and the Grant and Per Diem program, along with VA's HUD-VASH program, provide housing and stability services to thousands of veterans each year. The next program that I want to talk to you about is VA's Permanent Housing Program, which helps establish stable housing for veterans, which is at the core of all of our VA homeless programs. HUD-VASH is a collaborative program between HUD and the VA that provides permanent housing and supportive services for up to 78,000 veterans each year. It is a cornerstone program of VA's effort to end homelessness amongst veterans. Through this collaboration, HUD provides housing choice vouchers to community-based public housing authorities designated for homeless veterans. VA staff and screen and select the veterans who are to receive these vouchers, with chronically homeless veterans and their families receiving priority for the vouchers. VA staff provide case management and support services to help the veteran find suitable permanent housing, acquire the items they need to move into their apartments, and then case management services and support services to keep them stably housed. This is a permanent housing program, and veterans can stay in this program as long as they continue to have a documented need for these services and meet the income requirements. This program is especially important for veterans who have families and children who accompany them. VA now uses a Housing First approach in its HUD-VASH program. With this approach, veterans are permanently housed as quickly as possible without preconditions to be clean or sober or fully compliant with treatment. The only condition imposed on the Housing First client is that they meet with the case manager once per week. Many programs emphasize a treatment first model where the individual must seek treatment prior to receiving housing assistance. The Housing First model emphasized taking the veteran directly from the street, getting the veteran into permanent housing as fast as possible, and concurrently arranging and providing supportive services. Housing First is a low barrier model that does not make upfront requirements of the homeless veteran, does not demand sobriety, being clean and sober, compliance with treatment to access or stay in the housing. Veterans enter their permanent housing arrangement. They are provided the wraparound services to sustain them in housing and begin their personal recovery. Housing First is becoming rapidly a standard across all VA's programs. You will be hearing more details about Housing First and VA's HUD-VASH program in several other segments of this program. We cannot be successful in ending homelessness among veterans unless we prevent veterans from becoming homeless in the first place. There are several homeless prevention programs to help VA and veterans from becoming homeless, or in case they become homeless, to make their homelessness as brief as possible by connecting them with brief intervention services. The first program is the Supportive Services for Low-Income Veterans Families program. This program provides grants to nonprofit organizations and consumer cooperatives to provide services to veterans and their families with a primary objective of homelessness prevention. Under the SFVF program, VA awards grants to private nonprofit organizations and consumer cooperatives who can provide supportive services to very low-income veteran families living in or transitioning to permanent housing. Grantees provide eligible veteran families with outreach, case management, and assistance in obtaining VA and other benefits, which include healthcare services, daily living services, personal financial planning services, transportation services, fiduciary and payee services, legal services, child care services, housing counseling services. In addition, grantees may also provide time-limited payments to third parties like landlords, utility companies, and moving companies, and licensed child care providers if these payments help the veteran family stay in and acquire permanent housing on a sustainable basis. Getting rapid access to these services often makes a difference in preventing the veteran and his family from becoming homeless or being able to exit a brief episode of homelessness quickly. For more information on the Supportive Services for Low-Income Veteran Family program, please visit the homeless section of VA's website. The Veterans Justice Outreach Program is another homelessness prevention program. This is a program where VA staff work with veterans exiting state and federal prisons, jails, and courts to help veterans who are at risk of homelessness transition successfully back into society by supporting them with the services that they need. This program has demonstrated success in reducing reincarceration by getting veterans the services they need to reestablish themselves after they have paid their debt to society. A parallel justice outreach program reaches out to the courts across the nation, including drug courts and veteran-specific courts where veterans might be facing minor offenses. The Veterans Justice Outreach Program offers the veterans and the courts alternatives to incarceration, such as substance use and mental health treatment. This keeps veterans out of the criminal justice system when possible, reduces criminalization for minor offenses, and gets the veteran services that he or she needs, and reduces their risk for becoming homeless. VA also offers a wide variety of healthcare services that are very important to our homeless veterans. Some are open to veterans with service-connected disabilities, but many are also open to veterans who have low income. Almost all homeless veterans fall into the low income category. Helping veterans get the medical care, substance use care, and mental health services is vital to a homeless person's personal recovery. And if you are working for an agency that can provide these very important services, they will be of immeasurable help to homeless veterans. Help veterans take advantage of these services and guide them through the process of getting connected with primary care or other services that they may need. These services are very important to homeless veterans, and this is often the first way that we can engage the homeless veterans and get them to accept our services. Some homeless veterans are eligible for dental care. In some programs, if a homeless veteran is in a residential treatment program for more than 60 days, they are eligible for dental services. We found that homeless veterans often need dental care. Please check with your senior homeless program staff for more information on veterans who may be eligible for dental care. VA also provides monetary, income, and employment support to eligible veterans. Low-income veterans who are disabled and have wartime services may be eligible for non-service connected pensions. Veterans who incurred injury or illness during their military service may be eligible for service-connected monetary compensation and other benefits. Many veterans are also eligible for VA-backed home loans to purchase a home. VA also has a number of programs to help veterans with employment, vocational rehabilitation, and continuing education. Please help homeless veterans connect with these services by linking them with veteran service officers at your local facilities. These benefit programs may make the difference between success or failure in ending a veteran's homelessness. You can get more information about VA's homeless programs at the address on the screen. There's a wealth of information here about the programs and eligibility requirements for these programs. I hope that you will take the time to visit this site and visit it periodically as new programs are being added all of the time. This concludes our overview of VA's major homeless programs. I personally want to thank you for helping our nation's veterans. I'm sure that you will find that there is no nobler cause than assisting our nation's veterans and helping them to end their homelessness.